everybody for joining us. I know everybody's time is precious, but I hope tonight I can share some stuff with you that'll help you prepare for the holidays more easily, a little less stress. I just want to preface this whole presentation with this year is different, and we all know it. I was really getting a little stymied on how to present this presentation given all of the changing parameters. So what I decided instead is just present as if things were normal, and you take from it what you want, what resonates with you. I believe that there's no black white answers for how to proceed with gatherings, getting together for the holidays, being around people, whatever. I'm sure you'll make the right decision for you and your family. So that being said, I'm just going to show you about how to prepare for the holidays and what I've been doing for years and what I've been coaching my clients. So back to time management. The first thing I always suggest to people, believe it or not, there's only 8 weeks left to the year. I know, hard to believe. Seems like it's been the longest year. So I often suggest that people sit down with their day planner. Yes, I use a good old-fashioned day planner, and I like this particular brand, the Scully Planner, because it gives you a whole day to a page. I also live and die by my iCal on my smartphone. So, I decide, what's going to happen, what am I doing, what kind of events am I having, are there meals to be made, are there meals to be contributed to, and I sort of sketch it out. All right, so that's the first thing I do. And I list all the to-dos, then I ask myself, is it realistic? And then I get down to the brass tacks of, Thanksgiving's a few weeks away, so now I'm going to start planning for that. And I don't host Thanksgiving. I never have. That's my younger sister's role, but I do have a laundry list of side dishes that I bring. So the first thing I do is I go photocopy all my recipes that I'm going to be using for my meals. And now this is my crap copy that if I spill oil on it, I don't care. Oftentimes I see people take out their cookbooks, their favorite cookbooks, and it's full of food and they're falling apart. So photocopy those. I also, and notice how, especially at Thanksgiving, it's pretty much the same traditions. I write down the whole menu. Once I write down the menu, my next thing is I write the grocery list. Actually, no, that's not true. I go and find out what is in my pantry. I go to my spices, I go to my staples. And by the way, while I'm there, if I see old stuff or expired stuff, I toss them. Then I make my grocery list. And believe it or not, I do save them from year to year, and I keep them in a folder, Thanksgiving and Christmas Eve. I have Christmas Eve at my house, and I have for over 25 years. So I have the menu, the meals, the shopping list. And usually I go to a couple of different stores. I like Trader Joe's, and there's a couple of things that only Whole Foods has. I suggest to go at off hours so you don't get too bogged down with crazy lines and crowds. However, if you're like me and my family, we eat mostly fresh food. So you cannot buy, for instance, a lot of produce weeks in advance. So some days you just have to suck it up and go to the grocery store and stand in line. What I have done in years prior is I used to chat up people. Now I'll have to chat them up 6 feet away. So anyway, I have my tried and true recipes. I have my grocery list. I am good to go. Now, this is the time of year that I take out my knives. And by the way, I'm going to just tell you this right now. I grew up in restaurants and kitchens, and a real chef really, they only really use 3 different knives. A really good professional chef's knife, a paring knife, and if need be, a bread knife. Now, please don't ever put your knives in the dishwasher. They should only be hand washed. What I do at this time of year, because I know all the cooking is coming up, is I sharpen all my knives. This one product I do recommend. It's called Chef's Choice, and following the guidelines, it's electric. You drag your knife through, and they're all nice and sharp, ready to go. Because I will tell you that I have watched people start doing food prep with dull knives, and it just makes everything so much harder, and things don't work out well. All right, so we went over that. Good knives, sharp knives. Any knives that are crappy and no longer good, I am going to tell you to get rid of them, because I'm the organizing diva. Sometimes less is better. All right, we're going to put those aside. What else do I have on my trusty list? Oh, here's a trick that I always say. So I know a lot of times while you're cooking, it's a lot of work to clean up. One way that makes cleanup very easy in roasting pans and other is parchment paper. I like the unbleached kind. I put a piece on my roasting pans. At the end, I take it and throw it out, and I barely have to wash the pan. The other thing I recommend when you're peeling and cutting up a lot of vegetables, the peelings, I just used, I don't even know where I learned this trick, but a piece of wax paper to collect all the peelings and cores and whatever. And it's great if you have a compost. You could just gather all that up. I believe you could even put the wax paper in with it. All right, what else? One of my favorite things to explain, mise en place. This is a French culinary term, which means prepping, chopping, mincing, dicing, measuring all your ingredients before you begin the recipe. Where's my mise en place? It's helpful to have it all set up, Maureen. What it is you have a lot of times all your spices and herbs, and you measure it out. Oh, that's why I have all these small little metal cups. I'll put the spices, herbs. This one can fit minced garlic. I know most of you have plenty of bowls. You have your Pyrex measuring cups. This small measuring cup I love particularly because it shows you for small amounts of liquid exactly where it is. So mise en place before you start cooking. So say something calls for chopped rosemary. Get that all done. Don't wait until you're halfway through the recipe and it says, okay, now add 1 tablespoon of minced chopped rosemary. Have all the things. So this does require a little time to go through the recipe, see what you need to prepare. Does the oven need to be preheated? Do you need to line some baking dishes? Cookie sheets sometimes need to be preheated, that sort of thing. The other thing I do, just so you know, as the timeline gets closer, like it's the night before or the day before, I start writing back to the menu what time I'm going to make the items. So, you know, if you have 10, 12, even 5 or 6 things to make, you only have so many hours in the day. You know, you have other things you need to do. So I sketch it out what time I'm going to make things. Now, besides even the food prep, you have other things. Maybe, you know, you need to set the dining room table. And I strongly recommend to everyone, If you're having guests at your dining room table, get that out of the way. Clear it off, clean it up, put the tablecloth down, set it up even 2 or 3 days in advance. Then you can admire your beautiful table for a few days. Okay. The other thing, if you really are trying to save some time, and nowadays there is a lot of like butternut squash is a big Thanksgiving ingredient, is buy the peeled and chopped. Yes, it's more expensive, but the thought of taking an extra, for some of us, a half hour to peel, core, chop, butternut squash just isn't worth it. And there are other, minced garlic is available. There's a lot of broths. Trader Joe's has some great organic veggie beef and chicken broth. So I highly recommend considering some steps to make things a little less time consuming. All right. Next page. So does everyone understand what mise en place means? Setting everything up beforehand. So once you're ready for that recipe, you look like you're a professional chef on those TV shows we love. They are all mise en place. Everything is ready for them to go. By the way, if any of you want to visit my website, I put this on my monthly blog, preparing for the holidays. So there's links and pictures and all these bullets. The other thing to consider for time management, making it easier on you, especially you busy working moms, is there anything you can make in advance? For instance, in my family, on Christmas Eve, we have meatballs and our famous Italian sauce. So whose ever turn it is that year, I'm not sure which sister is somewhere, they make the sauce in advance. Tomato sauce, even a meat sauce, that can definitely be frozen. It does not really have any impact on the taste. Another thing is a lot of times you can make cookie dough in advance. So just keep that in mind. One of the things I strongly recommend in investing is these nifty hot plates. And of course, I can't see the brand name. Me and my sisters all have a couple of these. Oh, Maxim. Very sleek, dark, electric cord, easy to store when they're not in use. I believe it's low, medium, high. We set these all up. We have all of our dishes. Speaking of which, this kind of Corningware, these are great. Ceramic glass lids. Make your dishes in advance. Put them in here. Either reheat them or they can even travel. If you're going somewhere from Thanksgiving, these can go right in the oven. In some cases, right in the microwave. It's always a tricky dance, right? To get everything hot and ready at the same time. You can ask me and my sisters. We have a crazy time of getting all the things ready at once. My sister is a master at it, though. Also, I strongly recommend, if you're having dessert and coffee, is to put that off in a separate place. Some of us have a buffet in the dining room. Set up the desserts there. You can, loosely tempt them with saran wrap. You can get the dessert plates, the dessert forks, the coffee cups, the coffee carafe, everything over there ready to go. I don't leave any stone unturned. So during Thanksgiving dinner, during Christmas dinner, whatever, you can actually enjoy yourself and relax. Everything should be set up, ready to go. Also, in our family, we do love a good cocktail. I'm actually a professional bartender. My other business is the Mixology Diva. So we do dedicate space to a bar. That's all set up. All the lemons and limes are cut. The glasses are out. The ice bucket's out. The booze is all set up. It even has the pour caps. the sip straws, the cocktail napkins, the bucket with wine and beer, all set up in advance. We don't leave anything for the last minute. So that's another thing you can do. Anything you can do in advance. So all this is on my to-do list. And I host Christmas Eve, and I just take on a red pen and I check it off the list. Bar set up, dessert station set up. And maybe you don't have a big, gigantic suburban home, but I believe you can create nooks and repurpose, maybe someone's desk as the dessert station. Okay. Do you have leftovers or famous at Thanksgiving, particularly? I'm actually the queen. I'm in charge of that. So me and my sisters, we all bring I love the glass Pyrex the best, because food just tastes best in glass with the plastic covers. But for some of us, we can also bring our Tupperware. And then I'm going to guess many of you have takeout containers. So each family that attends our, whether it's Christmas Eve or Thanksgiving or Easter or anything, we all bring our to-go, takeout, travel containers. We're all set. We're ready. Like, there's no question that people are taking leftovers home. And we set it up as like a little ritual. It's like a little assembly line, and we get it all packed away for each family. So it works out quite well. Now, for some families, you might be using, maybe for the dessert, you decide, you know what, enough with all the dishes and washing. And that's fair, because they're usually extra during a Thanksgiving meal. Do you have paper products, or do you have enough on hand? Do you need to check that now? Is that something you could take off your list? Speaking of products on hand, most of us are using saran wrap. We're using Ziploc bags. Some people even use aluminum foil, as I pointed out before, the parchment paper and the wax paper. I do an inventory of all this right now. I can go shop right now and not have to worry about it. So crossing that off the list. The next thing, and this is really important, I have the privilege of going into a lot of people's homes, and a lot of times I'm helping them organize their kitchens and whatnot. And I'm always kind of a tiny bit surprised by people's refrigerators. I think we keep too much food in the refrigerator, because actually food should be consumed pretty quickly. I'm also a health and wellness coach. So eating, food that is more than 3-4 days old, even, okay, you can push it maybe to 5-6, but food that's 10 days old, 11, all that food should be gotten rid of, I hope. So the thought is, if you do have leftovers and you're not going to be able to eat them in the next day or so, of course, I would advocate that you freeze them. So now, like maybe this weekend, go through your refrigerator and freezer and clean it out, because you want to make room for all the stuff that you'll be getting for Thanksgiving, Christmas, Hanukkah, whichever holidays you're preparing for. And also, I'm going to tell you to go through your pantry. I go through people's pantry on a regular basis, and we find all sorts of expired food. This would even be a good time to hire someone, yes, a professional organizer like me, to help you go through the pantry and organize it, clean it out, just keep what you need, make space for the stuff you like. Maybe if you have a family, label all the shelves just to keep it organized. Okay, so clean out that fridge and refrigerator. My next point, this is just interesting, is that so some of us only do these kind of specialty cooking or baking once a year, but we have small kitchens, or we don't want to take up space with, like, say, a rolling pin. We use it one time to make, that one pie we like. there is a group on Facebook, and I love them to pieces. It's called the Buy Nothing Project. So every town, and they've even broken it down to parts of towns. I belong to the Buy Nothing Watertown group, but I'm in the Northeast division. And what we're able to do is give each other stuff. And sometimes we lend each other stuff. So if you need that rolling pin for just one pie once a year and you never use it any other time of year, I'm going to suggest you go and ask. So you do hashtag ask, can anyone lend me their rolling pin? That one might be a little tough because a lot of people are making pies, but who knows? It doesn't hurt to ask before you go out and buy all these specialty kitchen items that you hardly ever use. So once again, when I go into clients' homes, you know, I'm going through cabinets and counter space or anything, and I'll see that pasta maker taking up gigantic cabinet space. And I was like, wow, do you make pasta a lot? No, I've never used it actually. So we try to figure out a space in the house that maybe it's not even in the kitchen cupboards, that's just for entertaining, even, the punch bowl that's brought out on Christmas, or other very big platters and things that take up a huge amount of space, and try to get it out of the everyday space. You know what they say, real estate is everything. So location, location, location. Okay, moving along. Now, we talked about presetting the table. Oh, and here, so say your wonderful sister-in-law shows up and she sees your stress. She goes, what can I do to help? Is there anything I can do to help, is what she should be saying. And this is where you go, yes, can you help me set up my cheese board or my charcuterie platter? And here's what I do. I have thrown a lot of cocktail parties with lots of hors d'oeuvres. So, I don't know if you can see this. I have each platter predetermined what's going to go on it, and I put a sticky. So this is my cheese platter. And this is for the fig jam. And I leave the utensils right on it. So I will give people like 3 packages of cheese, the fig jam, and I'll be like, thank you, go. Now, I have to give up control on how they're gonna slice that cheese or how they're gonna arrange it, but I have everything here for them. And you know what? It has really helped me. I'll just show you another example. I put my charcuterie on this one, labeled charcuterie, and I serve mustard with my charcuterie. And this one's new. It's a vintage little tongs, and that's how people are going to pick up the slices. So if you come to my place at one of my cocktail parties and come up and ask me if I need help, I am going to put you to work. Okay? All right. The other thing I like to have a lot of people say, why do you have so many colanders? Because as I mentioned earlier, a lot of my family's recipes, my recipes, a lot of fresh produce. So after I do the shopping, I come home, I wash everything, and then you'll see a whole counter of fresh produce drying. I usually turn on the overhead fan and let everything dry. And then it's ready for slicing and dicing. All right, going on to the next page. Oh, here's the fun part, decorating for the holidays. So you can go to my website and it explains exactly how I do this really nice autumn tableau, I guess I'm going to call it. I start out with pumpkins, mini pumpkins, gourds, but then I've gone out in the woods and picked up all sorts of interesting pods and different little vines, and I brought them home and I spray painted them copper. You could also use gold. And once you definitely should put some kind of runner down, because these things are real and they could leave a little bit of stain on your really nice wood table. So you just sort of keep artfully arranging once you're spray painted, pods and twigs and vines and all those kind of little interesting things you find in the woods. You don't even know what they are. I bring them home and spray paint them. Then I sort of arrange the gourds, the mini pumpkins, the pumpkins, and then I go get votives with tea lights, and I just sort of nestle the votives in. If you want to check out my website, explain how to do that. And there is a picture there for you. All right, so moving along, you got through Thanksgiving. And by the way, don't worry about everything being perfect. The most important thing is you are with your family and or your friends, your relatives, and you're just to be thankful for everything we do have. And, once again, try not to focus too much on what we're missing this year. I don't know, role model some behavior for your kids, for your young adults in your world. That's what Thanksgiving is. It's all about gratitude. So gift giving season is upon us. It might have even started weeks ago for some of us. I always tell people to use some kind of list. I actually have a template on my website you can download and fill in each person with the gift, where it's purchased. There's also a neat app called Santa's Bag that you can download to your smartphone and keep notes there in that app. So one of the things most of us are going to get more stuff right around December, whether Christmas, gift giving. So I always say, try to, especially if you have school age kids, is trying to let go of some stuff before the new items come in. And I have always coached the parents, one item in, one item out. And a lot of these things can be donated to Cradles to Crayons and other organizations. You have to check in your area who's accepting what. Some of the rules have changed, but clearing out, and not just toys, even adults, clearing out unused, unwanted items. Once again, maybe it's time to hire a professional organizer to clear out the house and keeping it ready for the holidays. By the way, any gifts you get that are electronics, I highly recommend labeling the chargers, because this happens a lot with my clients. They can never figure out which charger goes to which electronics. I always recommend having a couple of extra nice bottles of wine or really nice extra virgin olive oil. And in case there was someone you forgot to get a Christmas gift for, you can always grab that wine or that olive oil or both. Maybe you really love them. So that brings me up, having some gift bags, gift wrap in a place, a sort of designated place. Personally, I only use gift bags. I think they're an ingenious invention. So definitely have some longer ones for the wine or the olive oil. So creating an area to do the wrapping and that stuff. And I store myself, and I recommend this to my clients, the long flat bins that you would normally put under a bed for your gift wrap and gift bags. And I have two of them. One is strictly for Christmas and the other one's for all the other occasions. And then I have a small bin for bows and ribbons. Okay, and of course, I'm going to tell you, I don't have to even say this, but I'll say we all have too much stuff. So I'm going to highly recommend, instead of giving people stuff, give them gift cards to, their favorite restaurant. And maybe they are doing just takeout, or I don't know. There's places that you get memberships to, ski clubs or whatever they do. everybody still needs to get their hair done, their salon, dog grooming. So consider that before you buy things, especially people who are older. I am working with many people who are a little bit older, and this is the time of their life where they're actually downsizing. So getting in a whole new deluge of stuff, it just, but it really does distress them out, even though your intention was good. All right, so I don't know if you're having guests or not. I'm just going to tell you this anyway. Maybe none of you are having guests, but here's my thoughts on guests coming. Once again, good idea to clear out the clutter in your home, you know, and if you can only do certain rooms, the most used rooms, so of course that would be the TV room, the dining room, the kitchen, and of course the guest room. I also try to arrange furniture so people can socialize. So I know in some families they've been in pods, and then, you know, they're having people over that are still in their pods. But oftentimes when I go home, all the furniture is facing a gigantic TV, which isn't necessarily conducive to talking. So I know we've all been watching a boatload of Netflix and TV. If you do have the pleasure of a guest, even if that person is 6 feet from you, try to get the chairs and everything so they're arranged so you can actually look at each other face to face. Definitely get that kitchen organized. I'm always a little surprised when I go into clients' home and I find, you know, things are, you know, in drawers in the kitchen all the way on the other side for utensils, and it's not easy to find things, you know, all, you know, the cooking utensils should be right by the stove. The cupboards where the plates and dishes go should be not far from the dishwasher. Having all the wraps, the Ziploc bags should all be in one drawer. You know, that's probably a whole nother presentation, but that's what I recommend. And it's nice. Some people, if you are having an overnight guest, it's nice to spruce up the room. Some of you might, this might be an opportunity, like, I've been meaning to paint that room all year long, and it's now doubling as your office, your home office. If you have the time, you know, maybe doing a quick paint job, because that can really freshen up a room pretty quickly. And leaving a little space in the coat closet, or perhaps maybe purchasing a coat rack. People do come to visit. There's got to be a place for their coats and boots, because if you're here in New England, you know what we're prepared for. And then, you know, little extra routine safety, you know, maybe having extra masks on hand, maybe having a place where people take off their shoes and boots, and then, I don't know, providing little slippers for them. There's little disposable slippers, if you can believe that. All right, moving right along. So now we're talking about decorating for Christmas. And a lot of times when I go into people's attic or basement and I'm helping them with the Christmas decorations, I am surprised because when I see the bins, everything's just a mishmash. Lights are tangled up, thrown in with breakable ornaments and all sorts of crazy things. And I wish, honestly, they would hire me to not only put up the decorations, which is the fun part, but to put them away. So one thing, you know, if you, I have this collection of vintage ornaments, which I adore. And I actually found this cardboard box, which is perfect for it. I bet you could find something like that too. I know you can go to the Container Store and find all sorts of very highly specialized organizing bins for the breakable ornaments. So then they go in the bigger bin. So I would keep one bin just for lights, one bin for breakable ornaments, and another bin for all the other things, Christmas tree skirt, stockings, that sort of thing. And then on the outside of the bin, labeling it. I tell you, everybody, label, label, label. My favorite bins are clear with snap down lid with handles. So I recommend those for every part of the house. Okay, so you're going to be pulling out those containers and then you put up your decorations and then there's still stuff in the bins. Now, this is when I ask you, and maybe you had those decorations out 10 years when your kids were little, but now they're grown, doesn't quite fit your decor anymore. Why not give them away? Last year, I made that decision. I packed up a whole, believe it or not, almost a full bin of all the decorations I didn't want. I posted it on that Facebook group, the Buy Nothing Project, and a young mom came and picked them up. And it made me so happy because she explained she really didn't have a lot, but wanted to make a nice Christmas for her kids. I couldn't have been more thrilled. So sometimes it is nicer. Listen, I've dropped off tens of thousands of items at donation places. So I can say this freely. I do enjoy posting stuff on the Buy Nothing group when I actually see people grab it and tell me how they're going to use it. All right. So the other thing is I always ask people to consider fresh greenery, fresh berries, pine cones. Half that stuff I bet you could find in your backyard or your woods. On my mantle, I do put down a piece of clear saran wrap, and then I sort of artfully arrange something. And on my Christmas tree with the vintage ornaments, I go buy a big bunch of baby's breath. You can get it for $8 at Trader Joe's. And I put baby's breath all over my tree, little clusters, and it dries pretty nicely. All right, so before you go out and buy new stuff, also look on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist to find stuff, trying to reuse, repurpose instead of buying all new. So we're moving right along here. And if you do have a party, some of the suggestions I had already mentioned in sort of a Thanksgiving part would work as well. Sometimes people have cocktail parties, and one of the I do myself is I cover my dining room table and I create with like boxes about this size, and I drape it with extra fabric. So I create highs and lows, and I put platters all over the table with the utensils, and I nestle votives and maybe something else that is seasonally appropriate. So that can be a fun way, and that's called landscaping your table. All right, so we are getting down to that. One thing I want to talk, I think I mentioned at the beginning that I'm a life coach and a health coach, is the importance of rituals. And I know this past year we've lost a lot, and I'm really, truly sorry if anybody's lost loved ones. But one thing I ask you, even if you have a tiny immediate family, to still observe some rituals from your past holidays. So, maybe you were making cookies with all your kids and your nieces and nephew, but this year it's just with kids. I still think you should do it and let people enjoy the ritual of singing carols. I know it sounds corny. I actually enjoy it. Lighting candles. Some people observe Advent. Making sure you still stick with some of your rituals. I think they're really, really important for mental health and well-being. And it just makes you feel good, okay? So now I've given you lots of sort of practical tips. And now it's about you, and you find yourself totally stressed out and you're not sure, just don't feel good. So one thing I just tell people is just stop for a minute, take a deep breath, and just ask yourself, like, to be grounded and recenter. And maybe somebody didn't do what you asked them to do, or somebody said they didn't like the new way you made butternut squash. Try to let things roll off your back. I know sometimes that's easier said than done. It's not a big deal. Also, this is moms, please get your family to help with daily home maintenance and tasks. I've been saying this for years, not just around the holidays, why the mothers are expected to do everything, work, take care of the kids, do meals, clean the house, get ready for the holidays and everything. But, you know, it's a team, and it's, you know, it's a privilege to live in the home and a responsibility. Perhaps, you know, get your spouse on the same page, and, you know, tell your kids in advance what the expectations are. So you're not so stressed out with way too much to do. I also strongly recommend for most people is to try little 10-minute meditations in the morning before you even start your day, just to clear your head, figure out which way you need a zig or zag. There's so much free stuff out there online on YouTube. During this pandemic, the good thing is I now do a daily ritual of 10 and sometimes even 15 minutes of meditation. I used to make it like, oh, I need to do a half an hour or an hour, and then I would never do it. But now that I've said to myself 10, 15 minutes, I can usually squeak that in the morning, and it does make a big difference in my day. The other thing you can do is essential oils. Lavender is very good for calming. I even like when I change my sheets, put a few drops in the sheets. And for energizing, peppermint oil. Oh my God, take one little sniff of that and you'll be ready to go. It's almost like doing a hit of espresso. Lastly, if you just want to act like your home is a wonderful, happy Christmas place filled with wonderful memories, but things aren't going so great, fill a saucepan with water, put in some cinnamon sticks, some clove, simmer it on the back burner. I'm going to tell you, it'll make a world of difference. Your house will have this beautiful Christmas aroma and everything will be A-okay. I hope this was helpful for you. I think we might be, Ellen's going to let me know. I believe I've yacked for 45 minutes.
Yeah, right.
And we might, yeah. And if I'd love to open it up to questions from anybody. You know, I could have always overlooked something, or I don't know, everybody has a different experience. So can we do that, Ellen?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so feel free to ask the Organizing Diva whatever you want. Anybody?
I have a question.
Yes.
So you mentioned, okay, so when you were talking about labeling things so that other people can help you during the stressful time, and you talked about relinquishing control a little bit. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that's easier said.
Well, you were talking to the control queen here. Then I realized, does it have to be perfect? No, doesn't, but I do need it to be good. So I set everything up so it's good. Like, I would never tell someone to come into my home and go create the cheese plate and have that person like rummage through my refrigerator, try to find a platter, the right cheese slicer. No, I set that up in advance. I know someone's going to ask me for help. I can let the slice configuration pattern go. So, and there are other things too, you know. At Thanksgiving, me and my sisters do part, and a lot of times we let the guys clean up, wash, and load the dishwasher. Now, I bet we'd probably do it a little differently. But that's, you know what? You let it go. You like, they're working, love it, great. Nobody interferes with my leftover assembly line thing. That I will not give up control. I'm just joking, but I don't give up control. I've got that down to a science. The other thing is, you know, at some point, especially kids, they're going to take over these rituals one day when we're all old and too tired to do this. So role modeling, you know, what you want done and how you done, how much control you give. I mean, I'd much rather have one of my nephews help me do something than me do it alone perfectly. Like, you know, what joy do I get out of that? But, you know, as they've gotten older, you know, I'm trying to show them how to make cocktails correctly, you know, as they become age appropriate. It's really kind of neat to see how they're more involved in stuff. But I also believe, you know, kids got to have skin in the game too, you know, like, all right, you know, you're eating this meal, you're peeling some sweet potatoes, you know?
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
all right.
Bonnie has a question.
Yes.
How do you handle special requests based on food restrictions?
Oh God, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So I myself have a lot of food sensitivities, and you can ask my sisters. I'm a pain in their arse, but knowing things in advance. So oftentimes what you can do is, you know, my oldest sister, she'll make a small batch of butternut squash without the butter and the cream and the milk and all those things, because I can't do dairy. So yes, that does require a little extra step, but knowing right up front what people can eat or not eat really makes things a little easier. And oftentimes for those of us who do have all the sensitivities, we don't want to be a big pain in the butt. Oftentimes when I go to parties or anywhere, I bring something that I can consume. You know, worst case scenario, that might be the only thing I eat all night. So I always bring something that I can eat. Typically, I find that knowing in advance, making sure they're very clear with you, like not, oh, I can't, you know, it's going to be like, I cannot eat X, Y, and Z, but it's also nice the person say, but oftentimes I substitute in A, B, or C, you know, just trying to, or you know what, let me just bring a couple of sides and I just want to take the burden off of you. Does that make sense?
Makes sense to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Bonnie said thanks. Oh, and then
Okay,
Nancy asked
fine.
if that's an aqua true on your counter.
Yes, it is. It's the only thing I didn't move over. Oh my God, I love that water filtration system. Love it. And what's so great about it, it does take up some counter space, but it's not that big, you know, you don't have to like outfit the whole under the sink mechanism. So I can't recommend it enough. All right.
Does anybody else have any questions? Just give it another minute.
All right. I have, so one thought, okay, question. This has been very helpful. Thank you. The other thing is, how about after the holidays? Please, 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 everybody, when you go to put away all those decorations and change out whatever, thoughtfully, I shouldn't say carefully, thoughtfully do everything. Because, you know, even after Halloween, I've taken out clients, organized, and like everything is thrown in. Half the stuff is mangled, broken, and damaged. I'm in a lot of people's basements right now. I've been doing a lot of basement clean outs and garages, and people hold on to a lot of stuff, myself included. But if you folks are gonna hold on to stuff, please, please, please do something that maintains the integrity of the thing, of whatever you're saving. I can't tell you how many cardboard boxes of books I've opened up in damp basements, and all the books are filled with, you know, mildew and dirt and dust. So if you are going to keep things, put them away methodically, put them in those clear bins with the snap down lids. Garages are a different ball of wax, but the same thing. You know, there's so many things you can do so you can retrieve your things next year with, oh, my favorite, you know, Santa or whatever. Oh, speaking of which, I have a couple of clients that have very big holiday decor, Halloween and Christmas. They're just not going to fit in a bin. So what we did is we started putting dry cleaner bags over them to keep them dust free. And, you know, we put them upright in the corner. You know, we put all the decor on one section. What I love in basements, we're talking about basements, is those chrome adjustable shelves you get at Home Depot The clear bins, make sure you measure those shelves to accommodate your bins. And then like with like, all the clear bins labeled. So some people, the decorations are one side, then, you know, the overflow pantry, sporting equipment, holiday stuff, and it just goes on and such. All right.
Nancy said, do you decorate all the rooms in your house for Christmas?
I don't decorate, well, I shouldn't say that. I decorate the living room, the dining room, and then in other rooms, I put one small little precious thing, even in my bathroom. I do love decorating, but I'm going to say this right now. Don't do overkill. Sometimes less is more. So when I go into people's homes, a lot, especially people with a lot of knickknacks and art objects, they have every single thing they own out, and my eye will not rest on any of them because there's too much going on. My brain can't process it. So I work with a few clients, yes, I will say they're women, and we took down half of everything, and we decided to keep them sort of rotating, almost like an art gallery, or in my case, I switch things out 4 times a year seasonally. And then I put them in, guess what? Clear bins labeled in the basement. Because sometimes having a few adorable or sweet or thoughtfully composed vignettes around your home, even if it's an apartment, and I live in an apartment, it's a bigger apartment, but you know, you just can't have everything you love out at once. It just is overkill, and people can't really appreciate it. I also am a big proponent of bringing nature outside in. So, you know, using really beautiful twigs and pine cones and greens and other interesting things you find in the woods, and certainly plants too.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's great. I think that's probably all the questions.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah. This was super fun. I hope everybody got a little something out of it. I know I went over a lot of information. Once again, you can go check out my website, theorganizingdiva.com. Mm-hmm. And I put up all the information and the links. You're welcome. And I'm Maureen Nuccitelli, the Organizing Diva, an organizing coach and a health and wellness coach. And anybody feel free to email me. I can even give you tonight's outline. It's Maureen at theorganizingdiva.com. Yeah. This was so great. Ellen, thanks again.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for facilitating. And everybody have a wonderful holiday. Mm-hmm. Don't stress. When you're not sure what to do, just laugh it off and go pour yourself another glass of wine.
All we can do. That's all we can do. Right? I'll send all the attendees Maureen's notes and email address, contact information, so you can contact her. And then just a reminder to everybody who is eager to get back into the library that we are open for browsing on the first floor from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. from Monday through Thursday. And then on Friday, we're open from 10 to 4. You still need an appointment to go upstairs to the children's room. Besides that, we're open for business. So very happy about that.
Nice. Support your libraries.
Woohoo. Thank you everyone for coming.
All right. Good night, everyone. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.